Don't know much, but I know it just said go.
Ready, steady, go.
So I missed that first bit, the ready and the steady part.
Yeah, well, they weren't there.
But I've joined in now. Go. Da 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 da. You can hear Daisy clomping above our heads. Daisy has gone upstairs to Grandma, which always sounds like something is exploding. And we just have to pretend like it's all fine. It's all perfectly normal.
Well, in this house it is.
Whatever's going on up there.
Anything that happens in this house is perfectly normal.
That's fair. You know what? That's fair. I'll give you that. Sir, I will give you that. Oh my, how is everybody else? Hello team. How are you? Hello in Illinois. Hi, Jonathan. Good to see you. Hi, Ken. The cons were good. The Disney and the Comic-Con and stuff, all of that was very good. Now we're just doing our best to deal with everything else, all the other stuff that's going on. And hang on. Sometimes people ask what I'm doing when we start, and I'm making sure that everything is shared to the right places and that tweets are pinned and stuff like that. So that's all I'm doing is I'm just making sure that everything's working.
Oh, I just had a pinned tweet.
You proud of yourself?
No.
All right, at least that. Tell them what you did last night.
We stopped to pay a visit to Peggy Weber on her today is actually her birthday, her 99th birthday.
And as Jews, we say kinahura.
Right. Peggy came to LA from, I think, Phoenix in her late teens and started getting radio auditions, and so impressed the people that she met that in a very short time, she was on the short list of working actors. And this was at a time when network radio was the dominant form of home entertainment. And CBS was on Melrose Avenue. CBS was on Sunset, right near Paramount, where the Paramount entrance is.
I'm not going to argue with you.
Right. NBC was at the corner of Sunset and Vine. And ABC was a couple of blocks away. ABC was the minor network that didn't even exist. It was the NBC Red Network.
There will be a quiz on this, by the way.
Anyway, actors could buzz back and forth from one show to another, and did. They had telephone services, answering services that took their messages. And sometimes they couldn't make a dress rehearsal for a show and went on cold. And you couldn't tell because they were so good.
That's how good they were.
That's how good they were. But Peggy was...
Kevin is saying, I remember Peggy from her many Dragnet appearances.
As Joe Friday's mother.
Yeah.
Joe Friday's aged mother. She was in her early 20s when she did those shows with Jack Webb. And he had to stifle his laughter because she was so believable as this quavering voiced elderly mother. And they were virtually the same age.
Yeah. Well, it's funny when you know, finding that out sort of with a bunch of different folks, voice actors and otherwise. I told my dad for the longest time, I didn't want to know what anybody on the Jack Benny show looked like because I had visions of them in my head and I didn't really want to mess with that. You know, I wanted them to look like I thought they should look. So Doug, the new Beverly screenings have not happened yet. They are this coming weekend.
We're going to talk about them in just a moment.
They're this coming weekend. So they have not happened. We did not get to see Beetlejuice yet, though I really, really, really want to. I'm very excited about it. Mostly excited, I'll tell you, because my friends who've seen it, everybody kind of says the same thing, which is it's what we want it to be. It is nothing spectacular. It is not the most special, magical, but it gives you what you want. And, you know, for a sequel made so long after the first, and with the first being kind of perfect, it's a really big task to try and do anything at all with it. I'm so happy that they got much of the original cast back. You know, obviously that's a huge piece of things, and they've got Jenna Ortega in there now, and so yeah, so I'm looking forward to it as a nice little bit of escapism. That is my hope.
We don't ask a lot.
Yeah. Craig is saying, I want the scoop on Telluride. Did you see Anora? Craig, you always know, you always have lists of movies. I'm impressed because I don't know 90% of this.
Okay.
Anora, Conclave, Maria, Nickel Boys.
We saw The Conclave. Excellent film about the intrigue surrounding the voting for a new pope by the College of Cardinals, the Vatican. Ralph Fiennes is essentially the organizer of this world, earth-shattering event. I mean, it's a big deal, and he is so good in this film. It's such a great part for him, and so much of it is his face. You see the thinking. You can see the wheels turning. Stanley Tucci's also very good in it, and
you both like Saturday Night, though my mom liked it more. I'm really looking forward to that, and part of what I'm looking forward to, when we spoke about it, I don't know what young people will make of this if they're not familiar with the actors that they're portraying. And I don't know who is still, I mean, like you were saying, J.K. Simmons plays Milton Berle. How many young people know who Milton Berle is at this point? But is it interesting enough that they're going to go with it anyway?
Yeah.
You know, is the movie interesting enough that even if you don't know who all of these people are, you're still going to have a good time? That's what I think will be kind of fascinating as the film comes out, is seeing how people respond to it. You guys saw September 5th, which just got picked up, just got purchased by Paramount. I saw this morning.
Oh,
Peter DeBruge posted about it, that it got picked up. So they saw September 5th.
It got picked up by Paramount. Is that a studio?
I know, right?
Are they still in business?
Apparently, they bought something.
Well, good.
So,
good. They also revived Republic Pictures.
Yes.
They have.
You can finally wear your shirt again. You can wear your shirt again and have it be current. He has this Republic shirt. You can now wear it. It's
so weird. Amazon has not only put itself on screen with the MGM Lion, which, and that rumbling you hear, by the way, that rumbling sound, that's Louis B. Mayer turning over in his grave. And Amazon Company, MGM. But they've also revived the Orion brand, which they own, and the United Artists brand, which they own.
Might as well if it's already yours, right?
So Paramount has released a couple of films with the Republic Pictures logo, or portion of it, just the eagle. And anyway,
we have
September
a couple of
5th.
September 5th.
Really good film.
Yep.
About the 1972 Munich Olympics massacre, an event that if you don't know about, you should. And no better way to learn about it than seeing this film. All told through the activities and the tumult within the ABC Sports control room. And if you've ever spent any time in a TV control room,
in a booth,
you'll know how authentic this is. Really, really good.
It's wild.
Peter Sarsgaard plays Rune Arledge, the legendary head of ABC Sports at the time. And John Magaro is very, very good as a young director, being given sort of his big break.
I was thinking, the last time that he was in Telluride was for First Cow. I think that was his first time in Telluride, because I got to meet him and I'm a fan of his. And I don't think he's used to getting recognized very much. And I went over and I went, I'm a fan of yours. And he went, really? I said, yeah. And then he was in First Cow, which is directed by one of your favorites. Is it Susanna Bier or is it a different one? I was going to say, no. It's not Susanna Bier. Who is it?
No.
Kelly Reichardt. Kelly Reichardt for First Cow. So her name was Moviola, Carville, Piano Lessons, Emilio Perez. Do you see any of those?
Emilia Perez, maybe the best film we saw in Telluride.
Yeah.
By Jacques Audiard, who made A Prophet and other good films. And it's a wild movie. Emilia Perez, not a cookie cutter film. It's about a ruthless head of a Mexican drug cartel this is just a springboard now. No big spoiler here. Who has everything. He's got a family, he's got money, he's got power. He abducts a lawyer played by Zoe Saldana and tells her that the one thing he doesn't have is what he wants most. He wants to be a woman. And he tasks her with finding a surgeon capable of doing it and capable of never revealing it to anybody.
Very interesting.
And it's a musical.
Obviously.
A musical. Wild movie.
Yeah.
An audacious movie.
Has it been picked up yet, or does it not have?
Yeah.
Who do you know?
I don't know.
Or when,
I
or
don't
how,
remember.
or and it's like now I'm intrigued.
You'll be seeing.
Now I'm intrigued. Someone over here is saying off topic. I know it's off topic, but did your dad enjoy working on Disneyland Secret Stories and Magic?
Well, yeah.
Again, a lot of folks don't know that with the Disney Treasures, my dad made them. He's not just hosting it. These were his babies. He put all of it he put all of it together.
I had very good collaborators, and we worked very hard to make them as good as we could. We wanted to make the kind of DVD we would want to see.
Yeah.
That we would want to have and enjoy.
Yeah.
And we tried to pack as much into them as we could.
Yeah. And you did. Ken is saying, just saw Kevin Smith's new film 4:30 movie and was disappointed yet again by this once interesting director. At this point, I much more enjoy hearing him talk about his films instead of actually watching them. What does Leonard Maltin and Leonard Maltin's daughter/girlfriend Jessie think about Kevin nowadays? Well, I will tell you the first bit, and I'm going to behave. You're going to be very proud of me. He's a horrible human being, so I have a difficult time with him. Why? I have friends who've worked with him. Not a fan of him as a human being. So that's my first problem. And that's especially bothersome to me because I like his early movies. And this is very much one of those times when you get to a place where you have to try and separate art from artists. And every single person is going to feel differently about that. It all depends. And no one is right or wrong in this situation. Nobody's right or wrong. It just comes down to you. We talk about this a lot with whether it's older films that now have things that are inappropriate.
I will never forget seeing Clerks in 1994, I think it was, and being blown away.
Yeah.
Being blown away that somebody could make such a good film on a shoestring.
Yeah.
And it clearly made on a shoestring.
Yeah.
And it was a damn good film.
Yeah.
I wonder how it plays today, but I bet it would still
play well.
People still
love it.
Yeah.
And I love Dogma. I really love Dogma.
Dogma's
it's
an interesting
weird
film.
And wonderful, and I'm a big fan of it. I really enjoy watching it. I still do, and I love everybody in it. It's nuts, but in a great way. So yeah, it is really frustrating when someone shows promise and then can't get out of their own way for whatever reason. In his case, in some ways, it's because he has so much control over everything he does that I don't know. I don't think he listens to the outside voice who may be saying, hey, this is too long. Hey, this needs some editing. Hey, why don't we try cleaning this up, that up? And this is an issue with so many directors who gain sort of power on their own, who are able to, nobody can really tell them to stop. I say this with Judd Apatow much of the time, that I think listening to him talk about movies, it's a blast. He's wonderful to talk, he really knows his stuff.
He's so smart.
He's so smart. He's really funny. But then a lot of his movies aren't great because it's very clear nobody was able to say, hey, maybe we don't need this extra 17 hours of footage. And I'm not exaggerating. There are hours upon hours of extra footage, which is why a lot of his films get cut and recut because there's so much there. But yeah, as I say, I think it's really tricky because there are talented people. Look, M. Night Shyamalan is out there again right now. And talk about but really talk about someone who let us all down. I don't know. I don't remember a time that so many people were so excited about a movie. When Sixth Sense happened,
Mhm.
People were just so excited to see something new.
I was excited. I got to interview him briefly at the time, Sixth Sense,
Yeah.
and he talked a great show.
Oh, he does. And he always does. He always
And-
does. I mean, that's the thing. As I say, he loves movies. He loves doing this. So why aren't they better? Because as I say, do you remember that we saw Sixth Sense, all of us
Yeah.
together?
Mhm.
And though I don't remember if it was me or who was with us, but my friend and I sat separate of my parents to feel like grown-ups at the movie theater, because that's what you did. And I mean, we were all jumping. And when you get to the conclusion of it, everybody kind of went, oh my God. It was one of those where it was encouraging people to go see this movie and to not talk about it with anyone. You can't know what happened. I mean, the fact as well that it stayed in pop culture, and things like "I see dead people" is still a line that gets used all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Which again fascinates me for pop culture, that something can move into that place. So why can't M. Night Shyamalan make better movies? Even when they have an interesting premise, they're not better movies, But yeah, just very frustrating at times, isn't it? After watching some of his films, I'm not surprised by Jesse's info about Kevin Smith. Feels like his attitude is in the films. Yeah, a bit of that, definitely.
Yeah.
Bit of a God complex.
Chasing Amy, another good film.
Yeah, that's what I mean. As I say, there's a handful where you just go, why did it work this once, but it didn't work again? Or why did you have a few?
Yeah.
I mean, even I love the movie Argo. Talking about Ben Affleck as a director, I think that in a general sense, he's a good director.
Mhm.
Again, who knows what he's like as a human being with all of the Michigas and crazy and the tabloid stuff, but I don't really care. He can make such a good movie. And then there are some where you go, well, all right. But here he is again, really intelligent guy. He is really intelligent. And
And he'll tell you so.
yeah. But that's the thing. He has an interesting life and an interesting backstory.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
The fact that he studied, was it Middle Eastern? It's like Middle Eastern. He speaks a bunch of different languages. Hang on, because I have to get it right, because it's just too. It's not what you would think. 1 second.
Someone's asking about James Earl Jones.
Oh well.
You saw him in The Best Man. You saw him on stage.
I did. Last time Mommy and I saw him was on stage, which is crazy, because thinking about that was when your mom was in the hospital.
Mhm.
So that's 12 years ago.
Mhm.
12 years ago, we saw him on stage, and he was fantastic, because of course he was. Are there wings behind Mr.? Oh my God. That is so funny. Instagram has put a filter on you, and I don't know how or why, but you have fairy wings.
I see him now.
I have no idea how that popped up or why, but you absolutely
very
have
strange.
fairy wings.
Oh, well, I may take off at any moment.
From now on, I'm going to put them on all the time. I'm going to have to figure out how it happened and then make it happen over and over again.
Oh, dear.
That is so. You look adorable in fairy wings. I'm sorry for the other groups who can't see it, but you're going to have to trust me on this. Sorry. Now I'm just annoyed trying to find this thing. Yeah. So Ben Affleck studied Middle Eastern affairs at Occidental College. And then, as I say, he speaks multiple languages. So he's an interesting human. And then I think he's a good filmmaker, but I'll be interested to see what his next sort of really good movie is. James Earl Jones, just to say, part of what everyone appreciated about him was that he was so nice. He was really kind to people. He worked really hard. And I think that he lived up to what everyone wanted him to be. I really think he did. And one of Daisy's little best friends is obsessed with Darth Vader. And so he doesn't know that James Earl Jones is Darth Vader. So we were really sad the other day, but couldn't tell him why.
Yeah. He also very unpretentious.
Oh, completely.
Very unpretentious.
Completely.
Down to earth.
You'd never know. And that, again, is always fascinating when you're with somebody who is famous, and they do not act that way. I love that. I appreciate that. Doug says, I'm looking forward to it's Megalopolis,
yeah.
Right? Yeah, he spelled mega. It's a hard one to spell. That's another one where I think we're all asking questions, because I don't quite know. people have had such varied responses to it. And then, of course, he's gotten into a bunch of trouble for doing dumb things on set. So I don't know. I really don't know. Oh, Nick is saying he was Sesame Street's first guest star to appear on the set. Really? James Earl Jones was. I didn't know that.
No.
I didn't know that. And that's extra adorable. So glad James Earl Jones worked with Carrie Fisher on The Big Bang Theory before they both passed away. Yeah. Well, Big Bang, the thing about Chuck Lorre and Bill Prady is that they're both such movie nuts, but also musical nuts, that they really, once they had the ability to, they just played. And they brought everyone that they wanted to into their show. And I mean, it's kind of like, you know how some people do wealthy, right? Like some, you'll see like someone like Peter Jackson, whose office is hidden behind a bookshelf and you have to pull a book out. That's the kind of rich I aspire to be.
Room. It's a secret
I
room.
want to be the kind of rich where I have secret hiding spaces and tunnels. You don't want to just be like rich. Oh, I have a pretty house. No. You want like the Batmobile. You want something nutty.
Yeah.
And so to me, as I say, that the Big Bang folks, once they had the ability to get whoever they wanted to get, they went for it. And I love that.
The people behind Only Murders in the Building are doing that now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They
are.
They're doing whatever they feel like doing.
Mm-hmm.
And whoever they thought about approaching Meryl Streep, and they did. And she said yes. And then they fashioned a whole story around her.
Then they got
Pasek and Paul to write two charming songs.
And thanks to those songs, they're now EGOTs.
Mm-hmm.
Pasek and Paul are now EGOTs. They've got the Emmy, the Grammy, the Oscar, and the Tony. And there are I didn't realize there were I knew it wasn't a high number, but I didn't realize that it's like 23 people ever, which is wild. And
so they're just having fun.
Yeah.
So right now, this season, they have Zach Galifianakis, Eugene Levy, and even Longoria as the supposed movie actors who are going to play Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez in a movie version of their podcast. I mean, it makes no sense.
But why not? If you can.
They're just having fun.
Hi, Jesse and Leonard. I'm here in Los Feliz at the corner of Kingswell Ave and Vermont Ave, getting ready to see the dedication ceremony of the Disney Brothers Cartoon Square. I know a lot of our friends are there today, and it's a wonderful thing that they're doing. I love that they keep Sorry, Daisy upstairs.
Noises off.
Yeah. What in the I'm sorry you can't hear this very strange noise. It sounds like she's getting into a fist fight with a squirrel. They're dedicating. So in Los Feliz, you have a couple of famous Disney locations. And God bless the people that work hard to keep those things preserved, because they are part of our history. And I love getting to drive by. There's some houses that look like Snow White, like they look like they're straight out of Snow White, and they used to be part of Disney. And so, yeah, this square thing that they're putting in is wonderful, and I'm happy. I'm happy that they continue to be celebrated, especially as the brothers too.
Yeah,
not just Walt, but as the brothers. Because without his brother, I don't know. Who knows, really?
Yeah.
If you change up that magic, what would happen?
I plugged it before. I'll plug it again. Bob Thomas, the late Bob Thomas, wrote an authorized biography of Roy Disney. And it's really interesting. It's really good and really interesting. And I learned so much from it.
I get that. It's definitely, as I say, it's funny when people do things as a team, but then only one. It's sort of like a band with a lead singer.
Yeah.
And we, for the most of us, only know that lead singer. Unless it's a band you love and you learn all the bits and pieces. But It's interesting. Someone's asking about the Buster Brown standee and if it signifies anything.
It signifies that I like Buster Brown.
It signifies that he likes Buster Brown. That's about the extent of it. It lives back there.
I have a Buster Brown carpet from one of the original shoe stores upstairs.
Yep.
That
we've had to tape down.
I like advertising icons.
Yes.
Of the 20th century.
Yes, you do.
Like Mr. Peanut.
Yes. Oh, you love me.
And Biblo, the Michelin tire man.
One of Daisy's best friends fell in love with my dad's Mr. Peanut plush, and I had to very, very carefully take it away from him and explain that that's Grandpa's toy, which is a conversation I'm having a lot with toddlers recently. No, that's Grandpa's toy. It's confusing when the toy is a toy, but welcome to living in our weird house. Current favorite movie, as in like something recent? Elizabeth is asking, do you mean like something that he's seen recently or just in general? Also, I still can't get over the blue wings, and I'm here for them all day long. Adorable. I know I don't want to put you in for Halloween, just shove you in a little.
I liked Twister.
Twisters. In general, well, his favorite movie never changes. His favorite movie is Casablanca.
That's my all-time favorite movie.
That's the go-to. That's his very favorite. Is it Teague or House?
Tige.
Tige.
I never understood as a kid Buster Brown and his dog Ty. Ty what? It took me years, decades perhaps, to finally figure out. And Buster Brown was the name of a comic strip, of an early 20th century comic strip by Opper, F.O. Opper, I think Frederick Opper, and that's where the character originated. And then somebody decided it would be a good symbol, character, spokesperson, whatever you want to call it, for children's shoes, and look for the shoe with Buster and Tige inside. But I never understood what Tige meant. It was short for tiger, just a nickname for a dog. Tige.
And all that time you were sitting there wondering, yes, David Baxter very much likes the wings. I'm telling you, we're going to do it from now on. We're just going to put little filters on you just for fun. A lifetime later, I still don't know the name. Well, there you go. It's Tiger. It's all right. Next is, I'm meaning to read that book about Roy. I think History Channel used that book as a source from that recent How Disney Built America doc series.
Which I have not seen.
It's entirely possible. We need Alice. We just need Alice to come down with a halo to complement the wings. Yeah, I think my mom would probably have little devil horns, more likely. But I'll go with you on that one.
Speaking of things, documentaries on television, I watched. My wife and I watched the American Masters documentary on Blake Edwards the other night.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really good. Unusually good. An unusually personal, intimate portrait of a man and a filmmaker, and with the enthusiastic participation of his wife, Julie Andrews, his second wife, and his two grown children. Well, she had 4 grown children, actually. And because they adopted 2 Vietnamese girls somewhat later in their life as a couple. And it's real. I'm in it as a talking head, but forget that. A lot of good people talk interestingly, and the clips are well selected. It's everything a show like this ought to be. And if you can get it on your PBS app or DVR it in some way, it's well worth watching.
Craig's asking if you've read the new biography of Agnes Varda by Carrie Rickey.
Not yet.
No. We were very lucky because of the film, because of Faces Places. We got to spend some time with Agnes that year, which is a couple of years ago, 5 years, maybe something like that. I have no sense of time. But because she was going to film festivals with it. And so we got to spend some time with her.
Your young partner, JR.
Yeah. Who's also a blast. Oh, the wings have switched to me. It's less cute when they're on me. It's adorable when it's on you. But we spent some time with her, and she's just so much. She's so fun. She's so full of life. And I'm really grateful that we got to do that because, you never know who you're going to meet when you're at, events like film festivals or anything else, because it does bring all kinds of different people together. Whether it's a musician, whether it's an artist like that, or non-pro, as we say, it could be anybody. And so it's really fascinating. And you completely understand why people fell in love with her and why she was successful, because she was just this tiny, whimsical person. I have to say I wanted to mention this to you guys because I love that certain things don't age. Agnes Varda is one of them. But the other day, a friend of my dad's, Nat Segaloff, who is a writer and many other things, was here. The two of them were getting some work done. And he very kindly brought for Daisy a lamb chop plush. And Daisy had not seen lamb chop. And he said, I wanted to give this to her. And it's one of the original ones that he had. I guess he was working with Sherry at some point, and he had a couple of like the original little stuffies. And I got it out for her and I showed it to her. And of course, she loved it just because it's cute. And I said, this is lamb chop. Do you want to watch lamb chop on TV? She said, yeah. So I put a lamb chop special on. And first of all, I'd forgotten how many of the songs that I knew because I grew up watching it. I really did. I couldn't believe all the songs were just there in my head. I knew all the words. And she fell in love with it. She absolutely fell in love with it. She was having so much fun watching Lamb Chop and Sherry Lewis. And, and I just thought, how wonderful that something like this, and P.S., it's hilarious. The jokes, they still play and they're really funny. There's a lot of grown up, like silly, not adult, but just grown up sort of silly jokes. And
Saul
I was like, this is
Turtletaub,
great.
Old friend of hers, very good comedy writer. Did a lot of her material. His son, John, is a successful movie director now. You were 6 years old. I remember this very specifically. When I took you and Veronica to meet Sherry. I was shooting a piece for Entertainment Tonight. And she gave you a little souvenir.
She gave both of us little lamb chops.
And I said, I watched her when I was 6 years old. And now my daughter is watching her at 6 years old. And now my granddaughter's watching her at nearly 3 years old. That's pretty amazing. That's staying power.
I had Charlie horse. My sister had a lamb chop, and my brother had a hush puppy. I love that.
Great.
I love that. No, I haven't seen the new doc, but I know some folks are really enjoying it, so I'd like to. But man, her father was a famous magician. Sherry Lewis's story is really interesting just on its own. And she started young. The whole family was in the business and she started young. But yeah, you watch Lamb Chop, it's still funny. It's still very warm. The songs are very singable and Daisy's watching them. And it just brought me so much joy. And this morning's first thing she asked for, can we watch Lamb Chop? I said, yeah, of course we can. You don't have to ask me twice. We can watch Lamb Chop as much as you want. But yeah, isn't it just, it's a wonderful thing when something still plays. It's a wonderful thing when it doesn't age. And even though, unfortunately, we're watching it on YouTube, so it's not the best quality, but it's fine. She doesn't care about HD. It doesn't bother her. But yeah, I love that. And I am really grateful that I got to meet her with you. And I remember doing that. And I remember her hair because it glowed. And as a little kid, it's something that you notice and you remember. But yeah, that was really special.
I believe her daughter, Mallory, is now performing.
Yeah, she is, which again, wonderful. How wonderful to keep those things
alive. I watched Kukla, Fran, and Ollie when I was growing up. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Doug says, I must admit, I know you from E.T., your movie guide, and the show. Disney does come up a lot. Where should I start on your love of Disney? A book, a DVD collection?
Well, I wrote a book that was published in 1973 called The Disney Films. And I revised it twice. And the most recent revision was, I think, in the year 2000, which brought us up to Toy Story.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Because we have Woody on the cover of that edition. And if you go to Amazon and look for used books, it's no longer in print, but it's pretty widely available. I would start there, offhand.
Yeah. A huge part of Disney for anybody around my dad's age is that they watched Walt.
Yes.
And having him come into your home as Uncle Walt
every week
and having him talk to you as Uncle Walt. It's like when you see a grown-up get done on a kid's level. That's how he was, but he didn't speak in any sort of a condescending way.
No, he never talked down.
But he spoke to kids and he explained what you were going to watch. He talked about what you were going to watch. And then, so he teased it up for you and then you see it. And so I think that for a lot of people, especially boomers, he just holds this really special place in their heart.
Yet, as I often say to my students, to me, Disney is not a company name
Yeah, it's a
or a
human.
corporate entity. It's a person. It's a person I feel like I knew.
Yeah.
I feel like I related to this person, this remarkable
Mm,
and incredibly successful person, who seemed very down to earth and very approachable. And if I had access to a time machine,
yeah.
I would step in and I would step out, and in the early 60s, early to mid 60s,
Yeah.
and meet Walt Disney. That would be my dream come true.
And I will tell you that knowing as many people as we do who knew Walt and worked with Walt, he has not let me down.
And he's not a saint.
No.
He's
He's a human.
He's a human. He had flaws. He had faults. He had a temper. He sometimes was tight-lipped about certain things, not generous with compliments, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but when
he
he did compliment, it meant a lot.
Yeah.
He respected everyone
Mhm.
and gave respect. He treated his people well. But he expected a lot from them, as he should, because he knew how talented they were. So as I say, all of the people, and we've been very lucky. We've known a lot over the years. And you really won't hear a negative word about him from anybody that worked with him.
Yeah.
They'll tell you he was tough because he knew what he wanted, but they'll never say anything, he was cruel, he was whatever. No, he worked hard. And that's the thing too, he worked hard. So it wasn't like he asked a lot of everyone else and then gave none of himself. So yeah, that's, Nick says, I did wish he did a better job trying to end the strike. Yeah, that's
he got himself into a terrible place
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
No question.
Yeah.
It's a complicated issue. Not complicated. It's a multifaceted issue.
Mm-hmm.
And as I say, he was not heroic at that moment. And but I think you can understand his point of view.
Yeah.
If that's why I say you have to read up on it, and it's worth reading about. I want to make sure Craig knows that I saw his note before that he's flying here from Arizona to attend my shows at the New Beverly next weekend.
Are you real? I didn't even see. That's awesome.
And that is awesome.
That is awesome.
Next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, November 20th, 21st, and 22nd, I'll be hosting a series of 3 double features at Quentin Tarantino's New Beverly Theater here in Los Angeles. And there'll all be 35 millimeter prints of
film.
Rarely seen Universal pictures from the early 1930s. And I can't wait. I just can't wait. And I hope we get a good turnout.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope we do. And if we do, there's more where these came from.
Yeah. He's hoping it does well because he would love to do more.
Yep.
No, the New Beverly wasn't an old Beverly. No, it's just the New Beverly. It's just its name. And it stood here for a long time. It has been here a long time, which we love. My 5-year-old, autistic and gifted, is already making and editing videos on his tablet, adding his own pictures, video clips, and audio, along with searching templates. How can I further his interest? Well, first of all, that's fantastic. And congratulations, because what a wonderful thing that he's able to do. And to have your support and for you to be interested because you see that he's interested means that he's already on the right track. The most important thing you can do is encourage it. I always say we meet a lot of autistic people all over the spectrum, whether it's Asperger's or, anything else. Because a lot of people find that movies or cartoons, animation, everything, that becomes their language. It's a way to speak when otherwise you have a difficult time sometimes connecting with other people. And so, I mean, I've talked about this before, but like there are kids who memorize his books. and I mean memorize. There was a little boy who you could say what page, and he would tell you what the pages said and what reviews were on that page. It gives them a language. Honestly, I think just keep encouraging it and showing them things. One of the nicest, while technology has its issues, it also has some incredible aspects. And this is one of them. Anybody can be a filmmaker now. Anybody can be a filmmaker. How amazing is it that we have access to these tools, and that he can do that? And if it is something, they think he's at about a 5th to 6th grade level, reading chapter books and doing times tables. I just want to keep challenging him and never let him get bored. Of course. Honestly, as I say, there's so much to see. Does he enjoy watching movies as well, or is it more so the doing of it? Because that would be wonderful to know. Hi, Em said I missed the first part. What's showing at the theater? My dad is going to be putting on
Friday night. We're showing Once in a Lifetime, an adaptation of the hit Broadway play by George S. Kaufman and Moss Hart. And it's a satire of the early talkie days in Hollywood. No big stars in it, but Aileen McMahon, wonderful character actress, Russell Hopton, and Jack Oakey as what we used to call idiot savant. And Zazu Pitts and Gregory Ratoff as the studio chief. Wonderfully funny play, captured on film in its time. And second feature is the one I've not seen. I'm
tricky.
Going out on a limb.
Tricky.
It's the Coens and Kellys in Hollywood. This was the 6th of 7 Coens and Kellys movies made by Universal.
Obviously.
And which means pre-code, when dialect humor and ethnic humor was in its heyday, if you call it a heyday. Some people would not. I'm sure it's going to be politically incorrect. And I'm sure that the people who come will understand that. And if not, I will remind them that has to be seen through that lens. We're not watching a 2024 movie. We're watching a 1932 movie. But it has the stars of that series, George Sidney and Charlie Murray, playing the heads of those two ethnic households. And this is all playing off the enormous success of a Broadway show called Abie's Irish Rose, which ran for years on Broadway and inspired lots of ripoffs and imitations. So that's what this was. But it's because of the Hollywood setting, it has cameo appearances by Boris Karloff, Lou Ayres, the star of All Quiet on the Western Front at Universal, Gloria Stewart, the late great, and Tom Mix, one of the great cowboy stars of the silent and early talkie days. So I am fascinated to see it. I can't wait.
Victoria says, no one can smooth over pre-code rough edges as well as LM. Thank you, Victoria. That's what we're here for.
Nice
can you
compliment.
imagine?
Thank you very much.
It's true. Well, it's become a joke. People will say if something's inappropriate, just put Leonard at the beginning of it going, well, but again, what do? Do you throw things away? Do you just get rid of everything? No. Again, everybody is entitled to like or dislike something. You're entitled to be uncomfortable in watching something. And if it doesn't work for you, turn it off. But we shouldn't just kill everything. That's senseless.
Yeah.
To go back. So mostly shows. He has a short attention span, which is every kid. When it's not something he wants to do, which is every kid. Surprisingly, after his time was up on his tablet the other day, he actually wanted to work on times tables. Well, then that's fantastic. Now I say it sounds like you're doing everything that he needs you to do. And it's wonderful because all you can do is encourage them. As I say, just like any other kid, as I say now, because Daisy started school, I spend more hours than I already spent a lot of time with kids. Now I spend a lot of time with kids, and it's fascinating to watch them. They're like tiny science experiments. It blows my mind.
Yeah.
And, you get them something and you think they're going to like it and they could not care less. You show them something else and it's the greatest thing in the world. So, you just keep leading with that instinct, and I know you'll be okay. Doug is asking if your favorite cowboy is Tom Mix.
No, my
No.
favorite cowboy of all time is William S. Hart.
Hopalong Cassidy.
Well, I loved Hoppy too. Roy Rogers. When I was growing up, I watched the Roy Rogers TV show primarily.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved Roy, and I enjoyed Dale, Trigger, Bullet, and Buttermilk, Dale's Force, and Pat Brady and Nellie Bell. That aspect of the TV show was aimed at little kids.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little kid, and so I responded to that. And I went to see the Roy Rogers Rodeo at Madison Square Garden, and Pat and Nellie Bell were there.
Mm.
Oh my God. Big memory.
Yeah. Like say it's possible to love something and also be critical of it. And that's, look, I always say with my dad, why do I think that people like his reviews? Why do people still respect his reviews? Because he never wants to walk in and hate something. He wants it to be good. He would like every movie he sees to be good. And so when you walk in with that mindset of, I would really like this to be a good movie, that's what he hopes. It's the same with everything else. We can look at things and say, this isn't good, this is, or wish this was better, I wish this was worse. You have a fantastic Sunday too. Good luck. It's okay to not like something, just as it's okay to like something. We joke about the term guilty pleasure. People love saying to my dad, what are your guilty pleasure movies? And he says, I have no guilt. And I have no guilt. I have no guilty pleasures. I watch what I want. Everything has a place. So yeah, it's okay to say, especially as we deal with things changing every year with what people are comfortable with, what we find out, maybe not so great, all of that. It's different. I will say with the Cowboys, Ken saying he met Gene Autry when he was 5. The Cowboys and all of the Cowboys that I got to meet with you growing up were such gentlemen. They were such gentlemen,
Well, they knew how to deal with their public.
They carried themselves beautifully.
Yeah. In their private off-screen lives, they were human beings. They had their faults, but in terms of meeting their fans,
mm-hmm.
young and old, they knew how to play. That playbook was well memorized and became part of who they were.
Yeah. No, it's a huge part, but that's something I always found when we spent time with Roy and Dale, Gene Autry, all of those folks. They just carried themselves beautifully. With so much grace, which is funny because you're thinking about a guy on a horse, shooting up whatever. It's like, but they just were beautiful. And I really appreciated that.
Chris,
the whole point is for you to go up and meet him. He's there. Hug him if you want to. He's very snuggly. Chris is saying, at this new Beverly screening, am I allowed to meet you at all? I wouldn't want to impose, but it's a lifelong dream to meet the man who made me fall in love with movies and the reason I have a book coming out.
Yes, I will not be able to have a long or coherent conversation with you. I'll be very distracted, but I'll be happy to meet you and chat with you.
In fairness, you're not coherent most of the time.
Well, that's true.
So that's, no, that's the whole, we're so excited. We're all so excited. My mom and I are going to be trading off going with him. So she'll take Daisy one day and I'll go, and then I'll take Daisy and she'll go. But no, we're very, very excited. And he's so excited. That's why I'm proud of you, because you reached out and made this happen. My dad sometimes gets nervous about asking people, I'd like to do this. Maybe I should just ask. There's no harm in it. And he did. You did it. And now you have the screening next weekend.
Yep.
It's awesome. Again, I say awesome. We try not to say the word awesome. And I'll tell you why. Because it is something that is supposed to be awesome. You should be in awe. Though I am often in awe of you. But yeah, that piece of gum is not awesome. The night sky, that's awesome. The night sky is awesome. Getting to sit in a theater with a real film being projected onto a screen with a group of wonderful people, that's pretty awesome. I'd say that's about as good. If you're a movie nerd, it doesn't get much better than that. It's pretty good. A while ago, somebody was asking what you've shown in class so far.
Oh, well, let's see. I missed my first class.
The first night of class was the Supremes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was that one. And then you had
Last week I had
summer. No, in the end, summer's end of
no,
summer,
no,
in
no,
the
no,
end
no,
of
no,
summer,
no, no. In summers.
in summers. There it is.
That was this week.
Yeah.
Last week
Right.
we had the other film.
You know, the other film. I don't know.
Last week
I wasn't
we
there.
had.
I wasn't there. I don't know.
But I can tell you. Oh, last week we had Rebel Ridge.
Oh, that's right. Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
And we had Jeremy Saulnier, who wrote, directed, and edited the film. And we had the leading man,
Who?
Aaron
Yes,
Pierre,
yes. Who you said is going to be?
This guy's
big.
going to be a star. He's already won awards. Won, I think, the Olivier Award for his stage performance opposite Mark Rylance in Othello. I mean, and that's just for starters. He was in Barry Jenkins' Underground Railroad.
Mm-hmm.
He's worked with some great people, and he's got it all. He's got charisma to spare, and the
ladies were swooning. You said
yes.
Or it sounded more like everyone was swooning.
Yeah.
It was a general swoon situation. How do you screen in class? DCP 16 millimeter depends on the film. It's based on the film. My dad brings.
It used to be 35 millimeter, and now, of course, it's almost all digital. We still have the equipment in the booth to show whatever I need to or want to show. I show an old short subject every week. This is how I get in my licks for film history.
You will learn.
And I bring, in many cases, my own personal 16 millimeter prints. Although our chief projectionist, Dan, told me that Grampy's indoor outing was starting to lose.
It's going out.
It was
womp.
Yeah, it was shrinking.
Yeah.
And not holding the focus consistently. So may have to revert to digital.
Real quick. Hi, how you doing, friend? Jenny, we're happy to see you. It's Emmy Day. Yes, it is. It's Emmys officially today. Always think of you two on awards days. Extra thinking about Sam Rubin today. Yes, our friend Jenny worked with Sam Rubin for a very, very, very long time. They're going to continue to honor him at different events, as they should, because he was such a staple here. He was such a part of things here, especially at award time. Yeah, that's whenever there's the in memoriam part of anything, and you just sit there going, well, this is depressing. It's too many good people, and that's how that feels.
Yeah.
Yes. So Sean's saying, especially if the theater has an old arc lamp projector, that's awesome. Well, I will tell you, this is years ago, my dad's projector that he has had my whole life, longer than that. So probably 40 years, give or take. More than that. There you are. Was this the first time you ever had to replace that light bulb?
I don't know.
Okay. Because it had been decades and the light went out. And my dad was trying to figure out how to get it out. We couldn't figure out how to get it out.
It's a bayonet adjustment to replace the projection bulb. Bayonet meaning you push it down and then you twist, and it comes out theoretically, and then you get a new one and put it in the same way.
Yeah,
if you can.
And what had happened was that it had been in there for so long that it was not coming out, but it was dead. Then in the process of trying to get it out, it broke. Me and two of my friends sat there because it became one of those things where I was like, I'm going to figure this out. First, I went on eBay to find a replacement bulb, which I did, which was a miracle. I found the bulb. Then we had to try, and it ended up being like, if three of us held this one part and pushed it that way, we could get the bulb in. And we finished at like 2:00 in the morning. And I was so excited because we had done it. And I don't think you've changed the bulb since.
No.
So my luck is probably running out on that very soon. If screening a 35 millimeter for a class, is it a discount or fair use? Because you're not making money.
The prints are provided to us by the distributors.
Yeah.
This is it's USC. It's a well-established film school and a well-established course at the film school. So they are kind enough to loan us now a DCP. Generally.
Yeah, they send them around because it's promotion. I mean, that's the thing; it's promotion.
But Jesse remembers the night that we showed. This is many years ago, but The Lord of the Rings. And
Well, because it was hilarious. Okay, depending on the movie, sometimes there's really heavy security because they often get things early. Not usually super early, but it could be a week or sometimes two. And so that's when they'll send the guys with the night vision cameras that stand there. And sometimes the kids have to go through metal detectors so they can check and make sure there's no hidden cameras, whatever. Though with a phone now, it's very different. Still, and sometimes they get their phones taken. It just depends. It depends on what security comes with the movie. But yes, many years ago, they were bringing one of the Lord of the Ringses. I don't remember which anymore. It was one of them. And we had 3 of the 4 hobbits coming to class. And my dad and I parked in what used to be this parking lot right near where class is. It's gone. It's now a film they've built. It's where they built the Lucas and Spielberg buildings. But we parked there, and as we're getting out of the car, I see this kid, a gopher, pulling these giant reels out of his trunk and putting them onto
a dolly.
A dolly. And I said to my dad, wouldn't it be funny if that was Lord of the Rings? For all of the security they have going on over at class, if that was it, it was that. And I was like, you mean that I wouldn't even have to fight this guy hard. Like it would have been a gentle shove and he'd probably have gone home. Yeah, it just wheeled. And then we followed him because we were going to the same place. I remember he wheeled it over and walked in with it. And I was like, well, still very funny. Still very, very funny to think about. Is the weather less horrific these days? Yes. It is finally not 1 billion degrees. It's been in the 80s, which has felt like winter since it has been in the hundreds before that. So it is finally cooling down and starting to feel not like death, which we're very appreciative of. Do you want to show these books you've got?
Yes, I want to show this one because I just finished reading last night. It's Griffin Dunn's memoir called The Friday Afternoon Club, published by Penguin Press. I know them. Mm-hmm. They're part of Penguin Random House. Everything's a conglomerate.
Yeah, everybody owns everybody.
Anyway, it's a very good book, very candid book about his very colorful family. His father was Dominic Dunn. His uncle was John Gregory Dunn. His aunt was Joan Didion. And his sister was Dominique Dunn, who had a promising career and had a good part in Poltergeist,
mm-hmm.
and then was murdered.
Mm-hmm. Horrifically.
Yeah. And it goes through all of that. And it also talks a bit about his career, which was just blossoming when that was happening, which was very confusing.
Yeah.
And,
how do you celebrate when things are going horribly wrong?
Right. And one of the heroes of the latter part of the book, the only spoiler I'll give away, is that he was in a film called Johnny Dangerously with Michael Keaton. And Michael Keaton and he became good friends and remain good friends. And Michael Keaton helped him at a crucial moment when the verdict was coming in. And they had no warning that the jury was coming back. And Michael Keaton said, "That's it, we're shutting down for the day." He used his clout to do that.
Yeah.
Those are things you don't forget. And I haven't started reading this, but I heard the author lecture the other day. It's called Disney In Between by Steve Anderson. And it's about really the Ron Miller era. The lost years, 1966 to 86. And Steven Anderson was the head of story on Emperor's New Groove and Brother Bear. And and he's a storyboard artist. He's taught animation. He has endorsements by all the right people.
So he's got Howard, he's got Didier, and he's got Dave Bossert.
Yeah.
Pretty much tells all the goodies.
The Old Mill Press. Disney in between.
Yeah, that's good. Kent, you are not the only one who said this, and we've talked about it because it has a deep meaning for us. Kent says, I wish your classic paperback guide would get a new edition. Sorry if that's been said a lot. I always say I love the movie guide. It was a huge part of our lives. My dad, by the time I was born in '86, my dad had already been doing it for 15 years, some such thing. I can't math, but a while. The first one was 1969, so a while. And it was just a huge part of our lives, and we loved it. And when they did split into the two pieces, which was the modern versus the classic, it made sense because then you could expand on all the classic stuff that you love, and you could add back in all the things that you otherwise would have to take out. But yeah, both of those books, they're deeply, deeply, deeply important to us. And I wish that you could still do them, but they also required year-round work and a staff. There's a staff of people working on it.
We had a machine which took years to cultivate and nurture and maintain, to build and maintain.
Yeah.
And it's like pulling a big lever, getting it to stop. And I don't think that lever would work if we pushed it back in the other direction.
No, it was too many people. It was so much, but it was wonderful. It really was wonderful. And I say, especially the main, the guide. And we all still think in terms of the guide. That is what's funny is.
And by the way, those books have not lost their relevance.
Yeah.
People tell me they use them all the time to look up movies.
Yeah.
You just can't look up movies from
can't
the
look
past
up new
10
ones.
years.
Yeah. No, it was really horrible when it ended, honestly. It was heartbreaking when it ended. Though I think for my dad, he was ready because he'd been doing it for 46 years. And it was a long time, a really long time. But yeah, as I say, it's still very, very, very special. And as I said, there are aspects I will always miss. Like, so when the books would come, when they first get printed, we get a couple of copies early. And you always knew because there was the heaviest package in the world on the doorstep. Because if you know anything about those movie guides, they are heavy as hell. And we'd get the big box of them and we'd drag them in. Is it 2015 is the last book? Yeah, 2015 is the last one. Dragging this really heavy cardboard box in and opening them up and getting to see what the cover looked like in person. Because a few months prior, we'd get some suggestions. Back in the day, before sending them through computer was even an option, they'd sort of tell us, well, we think we want to do like a pink and a this and a this year. And then they'd send us what they thought. And my mom and I would inevitably not like it the first time around and say, what if we do this or this or this? So yeah, opening the box and actually pulling out the guide and getting to see it after working on it all year. And as I say, it's a family, all of us worked on it. My mom, me, everybody. So yeah, it's very, very precious.
And there are a lot of tricks and things that we did. The people who did the production of the book at Penguin in New York were also fans of the book.
Mm-hmm.
And they used the book and they understood the book. So they went the extra mile.
Yeah.
The last prominent example of that was we would leave space, like 14 lines of space, to fill in a review that we knew would be coming at the very last minute before going to press.
The book went to bed in June. It's usually like June 20th, somewhere in there.
So we knew that Universal was releasing a film called Flight 93 about the fateful plane that that landed in a field in Pennsylvania and on 9/11. So we left that space. And then they changed the title to United 93. So now we had space in the F section and no space in the U section of the alphabet. We had to invent space in the U section and fill up space in the F section. And somehow or other, we did it.
Moving everything over. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. But and then trying to figure out how much space to leave.
Yeah.
This is the other thing. Again, if you knew that you had a movie coming out, I'd say the book would go to bed, which is to say it would be finished usually around June 20th. I know that because my birthday is the 16th. So it was always right around my birthday that it was finishing up. And as he said, okay, well, there's a movie called Blank that's going to be coming out, and it's going to be June 5th or something. And they're not going to show it earlier, or they're only going to show it 5 days early. So you have this much time, whatever it is. And yeah, are they going to change the title? You have to guess how many lines to give it. Are you giving it, all right, are we going to hope that you can write the whole review in this many lines, in that many lines? So yeah. The other thing that always makes me laugh is that at a certain point, they were printing it essentially on Bible paper. There was no room left because the binding of the book could only take so much. And at a certain point, where's it going to go? It couldn't get any thinner. So the pages after a while were Bible paper thin to try and fit everything into it.
Good one, Mark. Thank you very much.
No, just heard Leonard say F you. Yes, it does have, my favorite thing is when my dad curses. I'm a really big fan of him cursing. It makes me laugh. And when he does it in front of other people, which is rare, they either blush on his behalf or think it's the funniest thing they've ever heard in their life. So it goes either way. Either way happens. But yeah, years of that book. Years and lots of love for that book. And yeah, it's funny. Obviously, I would bring it back in a heartbeat just because I loved it so much. But the reality of it is that's not possible. But yeah, but it is wonderful that people still love it. And it's wonderful that people, someone's mentioning, I bought my first copy in 1973. That was incredible. And then of course, also seeing them in different languages.
Yeah.
People would show them to us in different languages, which was a real trip. We had that's like a Russian one, and yeah, all kinds. It's nuts. It's really, really nuts. So yeah.
Well, there we are.
Yeah. We are here next week. Yes. Everything's normal. Well, yeah, no, your thing's at night. Yes. Your show is at night. So we're okay. So we will see you next Sunday. Thank you guys as always for joining us. We love being with you. And take good care of yourselves and try not to watch too much of the news.
And if you want to learn more about what I'm showing, what the films are, go to the New Beverly Cinema website, or do a Google search for a very good piece that ran on IndieWire.
My friend Jimmy Hemphill wrote.
By Jim Hemphill. And you'll learn all you need to know.
I can hear my mother going, no. That means that's our cue.
That's our cue to say goodbye.
Take care, everybody.
And be kind.